Well, hello and welcome to episode 99 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here as always with Michaela. Michaela, 99 and feeling fine.
99 I can't believe we have done 99 episodes, 99 cocktails, 99 movies. At least actually, it's like 137 cocktails, let's be honest, because
Yeah,
well, even the
there's been some
even if you
multiples in
don't
there.
take into
There's been some
even if you
multiples.
don't the lobby bars don't count. I mean, because then we'd be like 300, but I am happy to share with you and all of our amazing
Mm,
listeners that we
yes,
actually have yet again had the best week ever. I don't
we
know what's
did. Yeah.
happening in the world, but this is amazing. My mind is blown.
Mind is blown. Everyone was just excited to get to 99, just like we are excited to get to 99. And we're excited to be getting to Halloween. We are coming up very quick on Halloween. It's about 10 days away. We are crushing through these Halloween, these spooky movies. We've covered some good ones. We're covering one today that is an all-time cult classic, not for you and I, because we just watched it this week for the first time. And I don't know what took us so long, but we finally got around to it and watched it. And we're going to be talking all about it. But before we jump into the movie and before we get into the cocktail, Michaela, you have 10 days. Is your Halloween costume ready? Is the family ready to go?
So we take Halloween pretty seriously here at the Wood household. And so I'm going to say yes, we have our costume ready for Halloween. We have a secondary costume ready for
Costume
some.
change, like share.
We do multiple costumes because we never know quite what we're going to be doing. We get invited to a lot
Mm,
of parties. It's hard
mm-hmm,
to do the
mm-hmm.
same costume over and over again, especially since costumes aren't the easiest to wash really quickly. So we're doing some Alice in Wonderland stuff because we got an Alice in Wonderland kind of themed party we're going to. We're doing Star Wars for Halloween. So I've got my
Excellent.
Queen Amidala dress that looks like a giant rainbow sheet. It's beautiful. And it's going to look amazing when I finally figure out how to put the darn thing on. But it's very complicated. It's a very complicated costume. And if anybody listening knows how to put on the rainbow sheet from episode 3, 4, that'd be great. Hit me up. Let me know how it goes. Let me know
one
what
of
I'm supposed to do.
one of those episodes. Pretty sure that's episode 2, but that's okay. I digress. Yeah, Halloween is quick approaching. We have a lot of good cocktails made up and ready to go. Costume for me, that's just me wearing a regular shirt and I put on some sort of like Boba Fett helmet or something and call myself good to go. So that's about as much effort as I put into it. But we're putting in a lot of effort this week for the episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into the movie, we're going to need a cocktail. So why don't we take a quick break and we will be right back.
So this week's cocktail is the perfect thing if you've been out doing creatures of the night stuff all night, like
Mm.
eating Chinese food in sunken clubs on the sea of Santa Clarita or Santa Clara, and you need
Yeah,
something
one of
when the
those.
sun starts to come up. This is definitely something that you should try.
Yeah.
And it,
Well, first of all, it's Santa Carla, and second of all, it might be Chinese food, it might be worms. It's hard to say, but I know that this cocktail is delicious, more delicious than that Chinese food. I guarantee it. And this one is called the Vampire Sunrise, which is what you need after a night out on the town, doing vampire type stuff. And this one comes from Secrets of the Booze. We've had a couple of theirs on recently, and they just are knocking it out of the park. With I think they're really good at these Halloween themed ones because you can do a lot of fun playing around with the way that these look and the way that these taste. And this one looks awesome.
It certainly does. And it's with one of our favorite fruits, the blood orange. And so what you're going to do, it's also like super easy. This could have been a lobby bar drink because of how easy it is, but it's
Very easy.
not
Yep.
because it is super front and center what we're drinking this time. This is how we make it. We're going to take 2 blood oranges. Now we say that if you look at the video that is in Secrets of the Booze, those blood oranges are tiny. The ones that we got, Brian, you lucked out and got these
Yeah.
ginormous,
They were
juicy looking
like
blood
grapefruit
oranges.
sized. Yeah, like
They,
grapefruit sized. Yeah.
oh, they were beautiful. You cut them open and it was like, it really looked like the oranges were bleeding because some of it was like beautiful and orange and some of it was really dark red. Just so creepy. Anyway, we only used about 3 ounces. So whatever that turns into for you, if that's 2 blood oranges for you, great. If it was not 2 for us, that was like half of an orange, ended up giving us like tons and tons of juice. So 3 ounces of blood orange juice. Then you're going to add that to 1.5 ounces of white rum. We have a lot of Bacardi still in my house. Wilbur, come over and drink all the rum. I need you to come drink the Bacardi. But that's what we had, so that's what we used. You could probably use any white rum. It doesn't have to be super special. The secret ingredient to this, though, is an egg white and then 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. We've talked about how to make that. It's equal parts sugar and water. Just heat it up until the sugar dissolves and you're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to throw all of those ingredients into your shaker tin. You can do a dry shake with that egg white if you want, but it's not super important because of the juice and stuff in there. So throw some ice in there, shake it up, and then you're going to strain it out into your coupe, your martini glass. And it's going to be really pretty. It's going to be like this orangish, reddish hue. It's going to have that nice creamy foam layer on top. And then you can garnish that with some zest from your blood orange. Or if you want to go the extra step, which is what I did, you're going to take one of those blood oranges and you're going to slice it into like 1/4 inch slices. Stick that in the oven, 200 degrees, about an hour on each side. That's going to dry it out. And then you can put that on top. It looks really pretty. You can go to the website and see pictures of ours. Plus, you get a bonus cocktail out of it because you get like the ends of the blood orange and totally squeeze that into your gin and tonic. Awesome. Really good pick there. So make sure you do that. Get a bonus cocktail. You have that while you're, drying out your blood oranges and then make this up. And then you drink it and you rejoice in your vampireness, I guess.
That's right. So I really liked this cocktail. I have to say, though, I was expecting it to be a little bit more alcoholic. I didn't really taste much of the rum. And so I think next time I really would go back to the sunrise part of the vampire sunrise and add some tequila instead of the rum and see how that goes, because I think that would deliver a more bitey flavor. And but something a little bit different, because this was tasty, but it was there was no punch to it. Like I wanted just a little bit more flavor profile. And it's beautiful though, and especially with the dried blood orange on the top, that was just real pretty.
Yeah, it was really good. You got a lot of those notes of the blood orange, but you didn't get a lot of other flavors. It felt kind of one note. And maybe it was just something with the white rum kind of got lost to the juiciness of the blood oranges. But I think you could use any kind of clear-ish spirit would be good. So like you said, silver tequila would be fine. We talked about gin or vodka both being good in this, where you could play on like a vampire screwdriver sort of thing. So I think you could really kind of pick and choose whatever spirit you wanted to throw into yours, and still kind of go through the same process and still get something really delicious. So one to definitely play around with. And this time of year, if you can get your hands on some blood oranges, you can do a lot of cool stuff with those. Blood orange simple syrup, which we've used in a cocktail in the past. Like I said, just do some juice into some of your other favorite cocktails, and that's going to add a little bit of flair and a little bit of deliciousness to it. And this cocktail was really good, and it definitely set the tone for a vampire tale. And we're going to be talking about one of the cult classics of vampire tales this week. So let us know at home if you make up one of these. But for now, Michaela, grab the blood oranges, because we're going to take a break and we are going to go way back in time to celebrate the anniversary of one of the best. We'll be right back to chat about this week's film, The Lost Boys.
Spoiler warning for The Lost Boys. If you've not yet seen The Lost Boys, then you should come sit by me, because I hadn't seen it either, and neither had Brian. But we all did this last week for the very first time. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about all the things Lost and all the thing boys. And if you haven't seen it and you don't want us to talk about the ending because it's a doozy, then press pause now. Go make yourself a vampire sunrise. Go watch this movie. It's not very long. And then come back and we can chat about it.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't seen it yet, like Michaela and I guess you've made the conscious decision of not seeing it, because this thing came out on July the 31st, 1987. Happy 35th anniversary to The Lost Boys. This was directed by Joel Schumacher, and it stars Jason Patric and Corey Haim as Michael and Sam, the two brothers who are new into town. and they're about to stumble into some crazy zaniness that you only get, I guess, in the California boardwalk areas of what did I say the name of this town was? Santa Carla. Michael and
Yeah.
Sam, Michaela. So yeah, we'd never seen this, but definitely has a bit of a cult following for sure. It's a movie that I've heard about and a lot of people talk about, kind of like Boondock Saints almost in a way, right? It has that same kind of fervor to it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got a grittiness to it that people talk about. They say they're vampire lovers or they're vampire fans. They love everything that's vampire. And I remember in the late 90s, Anne Rice came out with that book Interview with a Vampire. Then the movie came out and everybody kind of went vampire crazy. And that is when people first started talking to me about this film. And I remember seeing like pieces of it, but I did not remember the film at all. So I'm really glad we revisited it. But it has grown. People still like love this movie, and it's the right time of year to see it. It's spooky. It's a lot of vampires, lots of, and these vampires they've kind of cornered the market on the flying vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have the flying vampire, and that's kind of what gets us started here. Actually, you get a really cool scene as we get into the movie here. It's kind of like this helicopter shot of this boardwalk, I guess, in Santa Carla. Kind of this California coastal town. It looks really cool. There's like a roller coaster, there's a Ferris wheel, and there's a carousel, and it kind of flies in, and we meet kind of these groups of kids here on this carousel. They are having a little bit of a push and a shove sort of thing. The cops or the security come and they're like, "Hey, I told you kids to get out of here." So they kind of leave, and then you get this fly in of the security guys. He's walking through this empty parking lot. It actually looks really cool. There's some really cool helicopter work for 1987, the way that this looks. And you know that something is afoot. You don't know what, but you know that we are going to be in for quite the ride as we go into Santa Carla. Like I said, Michael and Sam are moving there. They're with their mom, recently divorced. She's doing her best, single mom, living that single mom life now. But what do you do? Sometimes you got to move back in with your crazy dad, your crazy grandpa. He's just called Grandpa, played by Bernard Hughes. He's amazing. And that's where we're getting this story kind of started.
Yeah, I love Grandpa because as soon as mom and the two boys kind of drive in, and they're driving through this menage of like weird people, like biker folks who've shaved their heads, folks with a lot of tattoos, folks with weird dogs, folks with
it's like, everyone in 1987 your parents told you to stay away from. These are the people that live in Santa Carla.
That's right. They all live there. They're all there happy. And Michael and Sam are looking around like, this is very strange. But Diane Wiest, best mom ever. She played a great mom in Parenthood. She plays a great mom here. She's just trying to figure this out. But she gets home, and of course her dad, you're right, played by Bernard Hughes. He's like, I don't know. I don't know I don't know very many people that have actually lowered their state of life by getting a divorce, but you managed to do it. And she's like, it's fine, Dad. It's fine. Like he's just like this curmudgeon-y guy, but he doesn't.
Thanks for the support, Dad.
Well, he's letting her live there. I don't know, but you would think she grew up here, right? Because this is the old family home, and it looks old. They don't even have a TV. I mean, Mike and Sam go on and on about how they don't have MTV because they don't have a TV, and
no MTV. I will give Michael some props though, because when he is walking in, they're unloading the car. He's carrying a barbell with weights on it, also that has clothes on both ends. So Michael is a beast. He is ripped. He doesn't care about the TV. They just want to go and have some fun. And you want to get out of that house because there's a bunch of creepy taxidermy going on. Grandpa,
they have a whole taxidermy room.
Calm down with that. So Michael and Sam are on their way to the boardwalk that we saw earlier. It looks super fun. Kind of the first section of this movie takes place on this boardwalk area, which I really like a lot. I like that it's kind of set against this kind of colorful, flamboyant, kind of gritty-ish kind of thing. But they go to the boardwalk. They're having fun. They're walking around. They're trying to get their feeling. Sam, played by Corey Haim, is wearing the most amazing pink shirt I've ever seen. The 1980s were a trip for the fashion. I loved seeing that. And you know what else I loved seeing at the boardwalk? That was our musical endeavor, Michaela.
It was absolutely.
That's right. Yeah. So we are at the boardwalk. We are seeing saxophone being played by a gentleman by the name of Timmy
Yes.
Capello. He's credited as the beach concert star, and he is a beach concert star because he's wearing I don't know, he looks
He
like the
is
most
wearing
'80s
a
like
chainmail cod piece.
yeah
And if
he
y'all don't
looks
know
like
what that
he
is, go look it up,
yeah he
children.
looks
Okay.
he looks like he came out of like the WWE WWF in the 1980s. Looks like he just stepped out of the ring, started playing a saxophone. And it's awesome. Played by Timmy Capello, actually is a real saxophone player. That's amazing. And you're watching this and you're saying to yourself, self, this is going
Why
to be
am
the
I
most
watching
amazing
this?
film of all time. No, you're
No.
saying this is going to be the most amazing film of all time. Two things are true. This movie is exceptional, and it's going to be downhill from here because this is where the thing peaks for
This is
sure, for sure.
yeah.
But something else is going on while you're watching this guy play the saxophone. You're seeing a lovely young lady catching the corner of the eye of Michael. He sees her. Is going to give pursuit to Star, played by Jamie Gertz. He's going to follow her through the crowd, but bad news because Star might already have her own love interest.
Yeah. Oh man. And so Jamie Gertz, not new to the scene. She started working in 1981. She was in things like Quicksilver and 16 Candles and Endless Love. But this was the first time I remember seeing her in the 80s because and she looks great. She's like got that beautiful 80s hair. She has 80s band hair before some of the 80s band hair even happened. She really cornered the market on that. And
You
she's
got to get
really
dressed up to go see Timmy
right.
Capello play the
Yeah.
saxophone. Is what
She's
happened.
wearing like a white strappy shirt and a gypsy skirt. I mean, she looks totally beautiful. And obviously Michael is just he can't stop staring at her. Sam's making fun of him like, dude, the dude with the cod piece is like over here. Why aren't you watching him? Because he's really what the show's about. And he's like, nah, man, I can't stop looking at this girl. And they kind of walk around this area outside of the concert. And that is when we realize that Star is kind of spoken for. Michael tries to talk to her. They, tries to make her laugh about her name. And they both have hippie parents, probably because her name is Star. And she's not really interested in any of that. But he offers to give her a ride on his bike. And she's going to go with him. But then the Lost Boys show up.
That's right. Yeah, led by David, who's played by Kiefer Sutherland, who has some sweet bleached out blonde hair. We've also got, we've got Paul and Dwayne and Marco. Marco's played by Alex Winter. That is Bill and Bill and Ted. So that's where you're going to know him from. And yeah, the Lost Boys, they seem like they're nothing but trouble, but they're going to invite Michael to go with them. What's Sam going to do, right? He gets abandoned at this boardwalk area. He's going to go in, check out some comic books. The local kids. You have Edgar and Alan Frog, played by Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander. They're going to give him some shtick. They're like, you're an out of town kid, but Sam knows his comics. He's going to lay it on pretty thick. These kids are going to respect him, and they're going to talk, and they're going to give him a little comic book. It's a vampire comic. Sam says, not into those horror comics. They say, trust us, read this. Think of it as like a survival guide. You're going to need it.
Absolutely. Corey Feldman, I think he drops an octave when he's in this role because he just got done doing The Goonies, where he played Mouth. And I feel like he talks real low the entire time, especially when he's talking about truth, justice, and the American way, which apparently means killing vampires. And I have to say, I don't know, because I was not a kid who was into comic books. I kind of joined the comic book movement later in life. But it really did seem pretty believable how, you kind of do this sizing up of people of, what they know. We do that a lot with movies, right? We meet people who are like, oh, I love films. And then we talk about it. And it's like, do you know enough? I think it's called gatekeeping now. And that's not a cool thing. But I really respected that piece of this show because the way Sam really speaks to the different versions, and he's like, you guys have totally misorganized all of Amazing Spider-Man and Superman. Like, they should be in different areas because of these things. And of course the Frog Brothers are like, wow, you're amazing.
You are
Don't
amazing.
kill any. Let's go kill vampires together. Let's do it.
Let's go kill vampires together. That's right. Yeah, they are amazing. And you know who else is amazing? That is Max. He is played by Edward Herman. He runs this. It's like a video cassette VCR shop, electronic store kind of a thing. We're going to meet him because Lucy is also going to the little boardwalk area. She's wandering around. She ends up running into the store, and Max kind of sizes her up and says, you look like you need a job. And Lucy says, I absolutely need a job because I'm a single mom now. You seem nice. And also, we should start dating. So that happens pretty quick. But you know what else happens pretty quick is that Michael is off with the Lost Boys. They are riding their little motorcycles through the sand, which looks very dangerous. It's very dark. Looks very sand duny. I don't feel comfortable doing it myself, but they seemed okay with it, probably because they're vampires. And they get to like the edge of the world, right up along the ocean, and we get to go into the vampires' lair, which looks awesome.
Yeah, it really does actually look pretty cool. And they explain it. David's like, there was this abandoned hotel, or it was a club or something, and it fell. It was on the cliffside and it sunk into the cliff during this big earthquake that happened in 1906. That's an actual real thing. So you should check that out. But it looks really cool. There's stuff hanging from the ceiling. There's a really cool picture of the guy from the Doors. Oh my God, Jim Morrison. There's a great picture of Jim Morrison hanging off the back. At first, I thought it was Val Kilmer, but it's not. It's Jim Morrison.
Yeah, also, the picture of Jim Morrison is about 100 feet wide and 100 feet tall. Now, it's important to note that The Lost Boys starts with People Are Strange, which is a Doors song, but it's not the Doors version of it, which is weird that they have the picture of Jim Morrison. Maybe they couldn't get the Doors recording of it, but yeah. So it opens and closes with "People Are Strange," the version by Echo and the Bunnymen. But I thought that was just kind of funny that they have a big picture of Jim Morrison, but they don't even have Jim Morrison's actual version of "People Are Strange."
Now I don't know Jim Morrison's version very well, but does it have that chorus, the "Thou shall not kill" and stuff in the same eerie way? Because maybe that's why they chose it. Because that part, I remember that from watching this 30 years ago.
Yeah, like the Lord's Prayer. I think that's just additional. I don't think that's part of it's definitely not part of the Doors song. I don't think it's part of the Echo and Bunnymen version either.
Okay.
I think that's
they just decided to put that in to
just
make
extra.
It creepier.
Yeah, just extra. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, this place is really cool. They've brought some Chinese food. They're like, hey, we're all hungry. Have some food. And this is before the pandemic, so people are like sharing all sorts of stuff. And Michael has some rice, and David has him believing that it's maggots. And so that's really creepy and gross. And then he realizes it's rice still. And then he's asking about noodles. These noodles turn into worms. And of course, Star, absolutely no help at all. She's like in the back, like, stop, leave him alone, be nice to him. And yet Michael, totally in love with Star still. I don't get it. But there's this creepy thing that's happening. Michael is like, I don't want to eat any of this food because it keeps turning into weird stuff. But of course, then David's like, here's a bottle of wine. It looks like a bottle that has a lot of dollar store stuff like super glued to it. It's old looking. It doesn't look like it's wine that I would want to drink. But Michael, he's like, sure, I'll take a couple swigs of that.
Yeah, Michael keeps making bad decisions. These Lost Boys are not being very nice to Michael. He's almost died falling off the side of this cliff. They're messing with him with this food, but he's like, yeah, sure, I'll drink some of this stuff, which we find out is blood. And that is bad news because that's going to turn you straight up into a vampire. They're going to go kind of get the most like iconic, like visual kind of thing from this as these boys now are kind of running around and, they're saying, be one of us, join us, one of us. And they're kind of like hanging underneath of this train track, which looks really cool. And then one by one, they kind of drop through into this like smoke fog kind of thing, which looks awesome. It looks really cool. I assume that, they're just pumping that in from like some sort of like fog machine and falling down through it, but it looks really cool. And what do? If you're Michael, you're trying to hang on. You said, I don't want to fall off of this thing. That is a bad idea. He doesn't know that he's a vampire yet. But eventually, his hands give way. He falls through the thing and wakes up in bed the next day.
Yeah. I just want to say this takes like 2 minutes. This whole scene, I am watching with bated breath.
It's like 0 to 60. 0 to 60.
It's insane. I have no idea how all of them held on. I mean, I do know how the other ones held on. They were vampires. They didn't feel any pain. Michael is just hanging for a while. Now, I know he's a beast. Okay. And he lifted like small children and, stuff.
Yeah. But thing, yeah.
Wow. I was like, this is going to be a 10-second thing. And it lasted forever, this scene. And when he finally falls through, my heart was in my throat because I was like, he's gonna end up breaking his neck and then it's gonna come back together or something. But that doesn't happen. It really beautifully splices into him kind of waking up on his bed, jumping off of it, going, "Oh my gosh, what was that? That was the craziest dream ever." Only not a dream, not a dream,
Oh,
Brian.
only not a dream, not a dream. That's right. He wakes up the next day when mom is calling from work, wondering why he's sleeping in so late. His brother Sam is like, "What is going on with you? You are now the undead. Can't be trusted with you." He's screaming. The dog is trying to attack him. It's all bad because Michael is like full blown, well, almost full blown into vampire mode now. Doesn't like the sun. Dog doesn't trust him. Sam
Frog
doesn't
brothers
trust him.
want Sam to
And
kill him. He's like,
and
just
yeah.
cut his
Sam
head off.
calls his buddies from the comic book store. He's like, I think my brother is the undead, and they're like, you know what, you gotta just kill him, just do it, just get over with, and we can help you with that. And that's kind of what happens, right? Then you get some shenanigans with Sam and Michael as they're trying to hide him from the mom. Michael's trying to figure out what's going on. He doesn't want to be a vampire. But David and the other Lost Boys are like, "No, too bad, guy. You're a vampire now. Come with us." So they go out and they do like their like feeding, and Michael's supposed to kill someone, drink their blood, and that's going to make him like a full blown vampire. But he resists the temptation of doing it, and so now he's kind of on the outs, right? They know that Michael can't be trusted. He's not really one of them, and we're going to come to a head pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because you find out that Star is also kind of this half vampire mode because she has also drank their blood or drank someone's blood, drank the blood of the dollar store
Out of the wine,
the wine dollar
bottle,
store wine bottle. And she has also yet to kill somebody. She was supposed to kill or feed on Michael, but then she refused because they really like each other. And so there's also like this kid who's I think named Lenny or Laddie, played by Chance Michael Corbett. He's like a kid. He's missing. There's a lot of missing people in it that end up going missing from visiting this town. Warning, number 1. And he's also kind of becoming a vampire. He fed on something, so they're worried that he's now going to become a child vampire, which sounds cute. It's not cute. It's really kind of creepy.
Sounds terrible.
When he finally turns into one, she's like the Frog brothers are trying to kill him, and she's like, he's just a child. Leave him alone. But what they decide to do, what their plan of action now is, since there's more of these half vampires than not, is that they want to kill the leader, which they believe to be David Powers. They're like, look, if we just kill him, then all of the other vampires will lose their powers and we can still save Michael. We can still save Star. We can still save Laddie. It'll be fine.
That's right.
Kill David.
That's right. They decide to kill David because they think maybe there's another leader of the vampires, right? And that is Max. That is Lucy, the mom's new boyfriend / boss. Inappropriate, but that's what we got going on here. So you have the Frog brothers. They come over for a little bit of a dinner party, and they're going to try to suss out Max, which is really pretty funny because they like ask him if he wants some like Parmesan cheese on his pasta. They just pour like a bunch of garlic onto it. They spill water on him. They I don't know. They do all of this stuff, right? They have this cross, and Max like, what is happening? None of this stuff is working on him. So clearly he's not a vampire. We think. Spoiler warning. But yeah, so they have to move on. They're like, well, I guess it's not him. It's this David. We have to get him. We know where their lair is. Michael can help get us there. We can go in while they're sleeping during the day. We can take care of them, get out of there. No big deal. Problem solved.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think it goes so well. So they go to their lair to try and kill a bunch of them. They bring like holy water filled water guns and longbows and stakes. They make Grandpa leave. They tell Grandpa he's got a hot date with some chick to get him out of the house so that they can go do this.
Yeah.
And
you take like a taxidermy dog with you.
It's real strange. Real strange. And they end up when they get to the gang's lair, they end up killing Marco with a stake. But they wake up David, they wake up the 2 others, but it's daytime, and so the rest of the Lost Boys escape. And now they know they're after them. It's really bad. They're like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And that's when, Laddie, the little boy vampire, is like, what do we do with the little boy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they have Star. They have to look in. Actually, I really like kind of the setup to them going on this because they like all the boys like bust into like the church during some sort of like
It's a
first
christening.
communion or something. Yeah, christening, and are stealing the holy water. And they're just like filling up like these big canteens with them. That's really pretty funny. But yeah, they get to the lair, and that's kind of the first time you get any sort of gore. Like I'm watching through this movie, like the first like I don't know, like 2/3 of it. And I'm like, there really isn't that much, blood and gore. I don't really see why this is rated R. But then, yeah, they kill poor Marco. Doesn't make it there that first time, and it's just like raining blood down through this vampire cave lair kind of thing that they have. But yeah, bad news is because that's the only one they got. So now that they only have like 2 hours to get prepared, because as soon as that sun goes down, ball game, kids,
Yep.
because
It's
David's
on.
going to be ticked, and he knows where they live, and that's going to be bad.
Yeah. And so mom is out of the house. She's on like another date, I think. I don't know where mom is, but grandpa's gone. He's on a date. They take the holy water from the water guns and they fill a bathtub. I don't quite understand how holy water works because I am not a Catholic, but maybe someone could explain this to me. If you add regular water to holy water, does the whole thing become holy water then? Because they
Sure.
only filled like 3 canteens at the christening. So did they go back? There's a plot hole there that I'm sure somebody can explain. But they have a bathtub now filled with garlic and holy water. That place must have smelled amazing. It's like an Italian Jesus area. And they end up pushing Paul into this tub. And that is one of the goriest things I think I've ever seen, because at first he's like, ow, it hurts. And then like his skin starts to melt off. And then like his bones disintegrate. It's totally nasty. Not a good time. Poor Paul.
And then all of like his like blood and the water start like coming out of like all of the pipes and like shooting out of like the toilet and the sink, and all of like the plumbing is just going nuts through the whole house. So that's pretty cool looking. Yeah, and they get the other one, and then you have kind of the final showdown between David and Michael. They are flying around through the air. They're kind of going back and forth, getting a little bit of a one up on each other. But fortunately, your grandpa is a taxidermy guy, so there's about 14,000 like deer antlers there sticking out of the wall. So you're going back and forth, trying to get the one up on each other. And luckily for us, Michael gets the last laugh here on David as he gets him impaled on some sharp.
Aardvark.
Poor little
antler.
It's an aardvark antler. There you go. Absolutely. So David is dealt with, but bad news. The Frog Brothers, they thought that Max was the head vampire. Turns out he wasn't. So then they thought David was the head vampire. Turns out he wasn't. But maybe it turns out that Max had one up, because I guess vampire rules say if you invite a vampire into your house, they are free from all of the regular vampire things. No crosses, no garlics are going to turn them away. You invite him in, it's free reign for the vampire. But this time Max didn't get invited in.
That's right. He did not get invited in this time. And it's interesting because they come to the house, and of course the mom is like, what the hell is going on? Because there's blood all over the walls. The place totally looks like something out of the Amityville.
The plumbing's all shattered.
It's awful. And they're like, what happened? Is everyone okay? And Max is finally becomes his true self. He looks real bad. He is not an attractive vampire. I mean, let's be honest, none of these vampires were really attractive. Even Kiefer Sutherland, who's actually a pretty good looking guy, even to this day, he has aged beautifully. David Powers, not a good looking vampire. They've got these weird extra cheekbone things going on. Their eyes look like
he's like the Billy Idol of vampires.
He is. But not a good looking one, because even Billy Idol was kind of hot back in the day. I mean, it's just not a good look. Anyway, Max, not a good looking vampire. Luckily for him, we live in I guess wherever this place is, Santa Clara.
Santa Carla.
Oh my gosh, I will say it right at some point. Santa Carla. No stranger to weirdos. One of the weirdos being amazing grandpa, and grandpa has stakes on his truck, and he ends up like ramming the truck into the front of the house. I guess he could see or smell the blood from miles away and decided to go save the day. And he does that by impaling Max on a giant wooden fence post, and Max explodes. It's not a kid's show, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
You might think it is the first few minutes, but once you see that chainmail codpiece, you should decide to turn away.
That's right. Yeah. So Grandpa busts through the wall with this like forklift truck kind of thing with all of these stakes on the front of it. And yeah, one impales Max, problem solved. And Grandpa just, gets down off of his vehicle, walks over to his fridge where he has his specially marked area there, grabs himself a drink. And he says, one thing about living in Santa Carla, I can never stomach all the damn vampires. Now, I was watching this and I said, how did Grandpa know that the vampires were in there? Because I don't think that was ever declared. He just kind of shows up through the wall. So yeah, so he must have his own vampire ESP sort of thing. He just knows what's going on, or he just looks at his house and is like, nah, it looks bad. I'm just gonna
maybe the Frog Brothers also have a granddad who's like, maybe from that. I don't know. You could have thought this grandpa is really cool because he'll say things like he has this really old, cool looking car and he takes Sam into the car and then you think they're going to go to town. And he's like, nope, I'm just going to turn the car on and talk about town. That's as close as I get. You would think that would be the moment he's going to be like, son, they're vampires and they suck. And here's how you kill them or something. But he doesn't do anything. The only time he ever gives any wisdom at all is when Michael comes home or Sam comes home after taking the car out. And he's like, well, do you know the rule about taking the car without permission and filling it back up? And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, well, now you know the rule.
Well, now you know the rule.
Yeah, where were the gems of wisdom when vampires were raining down blood on our house?
I love it because, they go and get into the classic car and they start it up because he's going to town, and then Grandpa just turns it off and he's like, that's as far as we're going because I don't like going to town, which sounds amazing as a recluse myself. So I can definitely identify with Grandpa there. But yeah, Grandpa has a lot of good wisdom. In this movie, I don't know, it's so campy and fun. Like, I've found parts of it just hilarious. Like at the one point, Sam is going to sleep with his mom because he's scared because his brother's a vampire. Who wouldn't be scared about that? Says, Mom, can I come sleep in your room? And he gets in and she's like, oh, I've been eating pizza. And he like opens up his sweater and he's got like this whole like necklace of garlic around his neck, which is hilarious. They have an awesome dog, a very cute dog. I like things with cute dogs. So that's nice. And the dog is helpful because the dog keeps attacking the vampires, and that's what you want in your dog. I don't know. My little pug dog would definitely not attack a vampire. She'd be
no, she would.
Give me a pet.
Come on now.
No, she would say, give me a pet and you can do whatever to my family as long as you show me some love. I don't care.
I don't know, man. One too much garlic. Maybe she'd try. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's feisty. I think she would definitely do the thing that the dog did one time, which was the when Michael was watching Sam. Sam's like, how old was Corey Haim in this film? Like 15? He was supposed to be like 12, so he's taking a bath and he's doing things that you would normally do as a 6-year-old in the bathtub, like making his hair a mohawk and playing with the bubbles. I don't know if that's like normal behavior for 15-year-old boys, but their dog is really doesn't like Michael and like lunges at him. I totally see your dog doing that at least once.
at least once. She's only a pug, so she can do it as good. But
she'd fly through the air. She'd like, rah.
No, that could be. But yeah, this movie was a lot of fun, and I definitely, we hadn't seen it yet before, but I could definitely understand, what people like about this, and especially like if you would have been like a teenager, say in 1987, you would have watched this and you would have instantly fallen in love with it. I totally can get that, and I can totally see why people are loving it, and that totally makes sense then. Why on its 35th anniversary it was in the theater. Unfortunately, the timing didn't work out, so we didn't get to go see it in the theater. We had to watch it at home. So yeah, we have to rent it there. So if you want to check it out yourself, you're gonna have to rent it on your streaming service, or maybe it's playing in a theater near you here as we're going through Halloween season. But that is The Lost Boys. So one of the fun things about Lost Boys I noticed as I was watching, and they're kind of going through the credits there, the executive producer on the thing was Richard Donner, and Richard Donner was the director of Goonies. So you have a lot of kind of similarities there. I thought that the way that like the vampire lair looked a lot like some of like the set decoration and dressing in the Goonies, just in the way that it looked. And then obviously you have Corey Feldman was in the Goonies, and then the following year was in Stand By Me with Kiefer Sutherland, and then in 1987 then you had Kiefer Sutherland and Corey Feldman back again in this vampire flick. So
yeah, and it's interesting too because this was the first time that Jason Patric and Kiefer Sutherland were put together, and then there's this whole love triangle between the three of them and Julie Roberts. I don't know when that exactly started, but that's kind of an interesting take. I remember
it was all foreshadowed with Star in
it
Lost
was
Boys.
It absolutely was. And I do remember girls having pictures of both Corey Haim and Jason Patric in the, like posters of them, like Lost Boys style in their rooms. Yeah, because Jason Patric's got that dark kind of brooding look to him. I don't know. It's kind of a forbidden love too. Like they weren't supposed to be together, but she's not very helpful, Star. Like she's not. I would have liked if I could critique the movie. I mean, there's a lot of things I would change. Cod piece. But I would make her have a little bit more of a backbone because he like goes to her. He's like, "What is happening to me?" And she's like, "Michael, I can't tell you." And it's like, you can tell him. You actually can. You can tell him. You don't have to just sleep with him. You can tell him, dude, you're turning into a vampire. And
yeah,
so am I. And we're powerless to stop it. So let's get it on. I mean, you could have said that.
Yeah, I mean, so this movie is only like 90 minutes long, so it runs through pretty quick, right? Because their first kind of interaction with Michael and Star, she just basically blows him off and gets on the back of David's motorcycle or whatever, and they go off. And then the next time she's about ready to go off with Michael, and then David shows up and she just goes over and gets with him. And then the next time they see each other, they're getting busy back in the vampire lair. So it's like boom, boom, boom. It is 0 to 100, which is exactly what you want in your vampire tales. In your 90-minute vampire tale, you want saxophones and you want that. Lost Boys, it's a really cool title. It's a play on like the Lost Boys from Peter Pan. Which I think is a really interesting kind of take on this vampire thing because, they were a group of boys. You could never get old. Just the same as these vampires. Obviously it's just kind of geared up here as we get into this horror thing. But I don't know, Michaela, I thought that this was pretty fun. I don't know that I'm going to add it to the yearly rotation, but I'm glad to have finally seen it, I think.
Yeah. Well, and if you did really love it, I was going to say you can watch. There are 2 sequels: Lost Boys: The Tribe, Lost Boys: The Thirst. There were 2 comic book series that were spawned off this. I mean, there was a whole franchise that ended up happening because this made a ton of money in its day. It grossed over 32 million. It only cost the budget was like 8.5, so it did real well.
The budget was $4,800.
And
no, actually, that's not true. The budget was well spent. The vampire lair looks awesome. The helicopter work looked awesome. It has a really good cast. It's a lot of younger actors, so that probably didn't cost that much. But yeah, I think it was well spent. And like I've said it a couple of times, it's very apparent to me why this is a cult classic for people to like, for sure. So I think that's gonna put a pin on the Lost Boys for us as we inch our way towards Halloween and we inch our way towards 100 episodes. So you're gonna have to stick with us. We will be back with a real good film next week to talk about that. But this week we were talking about Lost Boys. So let us know in the comments and on all that stuff if you watched Lost Boys, if it's one of your favorites, what your favorite vampire film is, and if you make a vampire sunrise to go along with it, do that. Tell us, send us pictures, do all that stuff. You can do that on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Drink the Movies, and on Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to see pictures of ours, episode recaps, all that good stuff, you can do that on our website, which is www.drinkthemovies.com. And make sure you are following along with us on the podcast players as we get into our 100th episode, because we're going to try to do something a little bit special for our lobby bar this week for the 100th episode. Maybe make an announcement. I don't know. You're just going to have to tune in and find out. So if they want to do that, if they want to tune into the lobby bar and a regular episode, you need to follow us on the podcast places and leave us reviews. That helps. Michaela, where can they do that?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Good Pods and Stitcher and anywhere where Anchor podcasts are distributed. I can't believe we've had the best week ever. If we'd love to keep that going. We love building this community. We've had so many people come together over cocktails and movies, and it's so exciting. If you like what you're hearing, we do 2 drops a week. I say this every time, but it's true. It's so much fun. Get in on all of our social media stuff. You can see how we build some of the syrups that we do and some of the drinks that we do, and they're really fun. Look us up. find us, subscribe. If you're loving it, please recommend it to all your peeps. Put a 5-star review on. That really helps us get the Drink the Movie stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now we have put vampires to bed for the time being. We have one more movie to go in Halloween movie month, and we're going to have to go, I guess, to the best of all of the Halloween films.
The scariest actual Halloween movie of all time, in my opinion. It's not even a Halloween film, really. It's just the scariest movie of all time.
And it is one of the greatest films of all time, too. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to pop open a bottle of Chianti, and we'll be back to talk about Silence of the Lambs next week. But for now, Michaela, grab your vampire sunrise and let's go because the sun's coming up. And we'll talk to everyone next time on
Drink the Movies.
Rules. We've got rules around here.
Truth, justice, and the American way. I swear he dropped an octave in that. Easy.
Yeah, you see a dead body and Stand By Me. Of course you're gonna drop an octave.
That's true.